we begin today's celebration, I also want to take a moment to recognize what it truly means for a student to complete the Community Engagement Scholars Program. One of the core requirements of the program is completing 400 community engagement hours. Students have completed these hours by doing things such as tutoring youth, supporting patients and families, organizing with advocacy groups, mentoring peers, strengthening nonprofits, conducting community-based research, and by showing up for communities in ways that are consistent, relational, and deeply human. And we have to remember that these hours are completed alongside coursework, jobs, family responsibilities, and everything else that fills each and every one of these students' lives. Their commitment is really extraordinary. In addition to their engagement hours, every scholar in this room completes 6 reflections that ask them to think critically about who they are, how they show up, and what community work asks of them. Through these reflections, students explore their ethic of engagement, their sense of self, their identities and privileges, their capacity to act, and ultimately how all of these pieces come together with their understanding of vocation and purpose. These reflections are not easy. They require honesty, vulnerability, and a willingness to grow. As we celebrate this inspirational group of scholars, I'm excited to share that collectively, they have contributed just shy of 25,000 hours of community engagement. 25,000 hours. They also collectively completed 216 reflections. They took at least 288 credits of community engaged learning coursework. Several students completed engagement through study abroad opportunities, and together they partnered with over 65 organizations, locally, nationally, and globally. Tonight is really about honoring that work, the relationships you built, the questions you wrestled with, and the commitments you carry forward. I now welcome my colleague, Laurel Hurt, to the stage to say a few words.
Thank you, Jess. Good evening, everyone. It's great. Thank you for joining us tonight as we celebrate our scholars. As Jess noted, my name is Laurel Hurt. I use she, her pronouns, and I have been the director of the Center for Community Engaged Learning, and I'm one of the founders of this program. Part of today's event, before we officially begin, I want to appreciate those who have been instrumental in planning and organizing today's event. Certainly Jess Proskin, who you've already heard from here, Maddie Ballas, walking around with the camera right now, who has done our PowerPoint, and you've seen lots and lots of messages from her about today's event, and a number of certainly other staff members, Susie, David Holliday out in the hallway, and others. So I'm going to say a few categories of individuals, and if you fall into one of these groups, please let us know. Wave your hand or stand up if you would like to. This program has required support from a lot of different people across campus and beyond. Administrators and employees of the University of Minnesota who support our office. University of Minnesota faculty instruct scholars in community engaged learning courses. Community partners who work in collaboration with our scholars. So here we have our staff. So in addition to the people I've already mentioned, our colleague Christopher George had to leave early due to a migraine. David Holliday in the hallway, our colleague Bruce McGuire, and our student staff, Omer Minta, Lancha Chufa, and Nasra Yousaf, our other students who make, students and staff who make this program and event possible. And I know there's some representatives of this group. The CESP Leaders Board members who support scholars and CESP's growth. Certainly, also after 20 years of celebrating the program, we have a number of alums who, around 700 or so, out there in the world who have been mentors, and several of which participated in an event last week and got to spend some time meeting our current scholars. But two of the group who are in this room right now, Joss Proskin and Maddie Ballas, are both alums of the Scholars Program as well. And then, of course, family and friends of scholars. We thank you so much for being here today to help us celebrate your wonderful siblings, son or daughter, etc. friend. So, and then, certainly, let's not forget our current class of 2025-26 scholars. So over here, we're celebrating 20 years. So Jess asked me to say a little bit about the history of this program, since this is our 20th group of graduating students. Our program was launched back in 2005 in the spring. And that was done so to provide public recognition by the university of undergraduate students who made thoughtful and substantial commitments to community work and connecting that to their academic and career goals during their undergraduate years. The development of the program was sponsored by the then Vice Provost of Undergraduate Education, Dr. Craig Swan, and Vice Provost of Student Affairs, Jerry Reinhardt, and leadership of the Council for Public Engagement. That council event eventually evolved into what we know of today as our Office for Public Engagement, headed by Lori Van Egren, who you'll see up on the stage in a little bit. Community partner interest in this program was high from the beginning because it provided the university with some incentive to encourage students to be involved in community work beyond their typical semester commitments that they found in many of our community engaged learning courses. So at the beginning of the program, Jess mentioned a number of the required components, and I know you have those also in your program. The hours of community work, reflections, credits that students complete as part of academic courses they take throughout their time at the university, and then some of the final requirements. Just mentioned the Integrated Community Engagement Project, which students negotiate between themselves and their community partner sponsor. That is done at the same time as they are taking the CESP 3901 capstone course. Jess has taught the 5 sections of this year. And during that, students are also completing what we know today as our integration and contextualization reflection. This class has always been one of the highlights for both the students and the staff who've taught it, because it really provides a space for students to learn and support one another as a community of peers, pursuing a wide range of academic disciplines, but who share similar commitments to different types of community work. Over the 20 years of operating the program, we've made several changes. One of the biggest ones was to our reflection requirement. Back in 2012 2009, 2010, we were able to hire Dr. Elizabeth Hutter, who at that point was a graduate student in the English department, to be a writing fellow. And she did a study of the students' reflections from the beginning of the program up until that time. And it was due to that evaluation, we chose to redesign the requirement in 2010-2011. So a number of our student staff, who are also alums of the program eventually, Emma Paskowitz and Hannah Warku, graduate student Kelsey Schultz, and Liz worked with CCEL staff to identify the current reflection themes that you're going to be hearing about and hearing directly from students about throughout the night, that we wanted students to grapple with during their time in the program. We brought in some of the work of Marcia Baxter-Magolda, higher ed faculty member emeritus from Miami University of Ohio, and her authoring self-authorship idea into those reflections. We wanted students to be able to choose different methods and modes and use those reflections as opportunities for meaningful conversations, creativity, stepping outside of their comfort zones, and learning about community work in a more deeper and holistic way. In 2012-2013, Yer Maysog, also a former student staff member and later full-time staff member, along with Abiola Abu Bakar, initiated the first CESP Leaders Board on campus, tied to the office, which has consistently continued to today, except for maybe 1 year between that time. They also initiated what we often do every year called a RAP conference, or Reflection Action Partnership Conference, to bring students together in the program to reflect and build community. In fall of 2017, when I was teaching the capstone seminar, integrated and piloted the digital story component of the program that you will see several examples of tonight. And finally, before I pass the baton back over to Jess, just want to share that as we announce this year's group of 36 students, we've had 715 students complete our capstone seminar in the past 20 years. When this program was originally envisioned, around 20 to 25 students we thought would be completing the program every year. So, which would have been at that point 400 to 500 students. So we've well exceeded that goal throughout the years. And I think that is something to share and give a round of applause to. Welcome Jess back to the stage.
Thank you, Laurel. This evening, we will be highlighting the 6 unique reflection themes that serve as the foundation of the CESP program. We are lucky to have several students who have prepared remarks to share with you about their experiences in CESP. And each of these speeches will incorporate one or more of the reflection themes. We'll begin our evening by hearing from Sophie Mack, a graduating CESP scholar whose work embodies what it means to learn with and from community. Sophie is a computer science major whose engagement spans experiences such as Girls Dream Code, where she has served as both a Code Your Path and Code Talks instructor, and also Girls on the Run, where she served as a positive role model for young girls. Her speech, Beyond Volunteering, Collaboration, and Community Building, reflects the heart of the CESP experience, showing up with curiosity, building relationships, and recognizing that meaningful community work is always collective. Tonight, she'll share how these experiences have shaped the way she understands her role in the community and the commitments she carries forward.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me. I think it's really cool that you guys are all here today taking time out of your incredibly busy schedules, not just to congratulate and be a cheerleader for your scholar, yay to them, but to also get to know a little bit about CESP. So CESP has meant so much to me for these last 2 years when I joined right before my junior year of college, but it's not really something I knew much about until now. I hope that while you guys are here at this reception, not only will you guys get to once again congratulate your scholar, but I hope that you also get the chance to talk to someone new and meet a different scholar who's also in the program. Or even just by flipping through the pamphlet, or when we had all our pictures back up, I hope there was one big takeaway, which is that no two CESP students are really that alike. We all come from different majors, hobbies, interests. I bet in this room alone, there's a million different plans for what to do after college, hometowns that we grew up in, or cities we hope to all move to one day. But what unites all of us is our commitment to making the world a better place, to making change in our community, and to graduating not just with the computer science degree, but not just with any degree. That's the point of my speech. You see where I'm going with this. But not just with any degree, but as with the title of Community Engagement Scholar. So I was lucky enough to be part of this community, and when I joined the club, I had going through my head kind of the same ideas I think anyone does whenever they join a new club or new team, which was, what if I don't fit in, and what if everyone's already friends with each other and I'm going to be the outsider? But never have I been more wrong about a club than with those ideas. Not only did CESP totally embrace me, did I feel totally welcome and make so many friends, but with people like Jess and Maddie showing up to so many different socials, remembering your name, and always being there at Applebee to say hi and ask how your classes are going. It really is such a welcoming community. And I'm so grateful that I got to be part of that when I joined the CESP Student Leaders Board. It was me and 4 other people who got to organize workshops and socials for us to all come together and get to know each other. But in true CESP fashion, these weren't just fun events with free food and lots of socializing, but also chances for us to come together and help our community in small ways. To share some examples, in September, not only did we do an ice cream social with, a really great ice cream and lots of socializing, but we also got to come together and make tie blankets for houseless people in the community. Or in the spring, we got to eat insomnia cookies, but then also gather together feminine hygiene products for our neighbors who need them most. And perhaps my favorite event was our most recent one, where it was called the Stars Align Gala, where it was us, the current CESP students, as well as CESP alumni from the 20 years, that's incredible. We all got to come together and they were cheering us on. And even though most of them haven't been a part of the program for more than 5 years, they still remembered CESP as being a huge part of their college experience. When you mentioned memories of volunteering, they would still smile about it and remember just how incredible that program was. So even though we are all going to be leaving CESP and we're going to have to say goodbye to our capstone class, and we're going to walk across the stage and get our degree, all in very different fields of study, I hope that you guys all still find that CESP is there for you. I hope that you all come back to the alumni things and that you can always kind of find CESP to be a home. Because even though getting your CESP honor feels like a very individual process. Getting those 400 hours is mostly done by yourself. It's you who's writing all the reflections. It's also incredibly collaborative in terms of who brought you there, what you learned, and where you want to go next. So congratulations to all of you, and I hope we all stay in touch, and CESP will always be there for you. Thank you so much.
Sophie, thank you so much for sharing those words with us. Hearing the impact that CESP has had on you is really amazing. Next, we're going to view a digital story created by one of our scholars. The digital story serves as one of the final assignments that scholars complete in the program, inviting students to look back at their full undergraduate journey, their community engagement, their academic path, and the values that have shaped who they are becoming. Our first digital story this evening comes from Esme Mergandal, a CESP scholar majoring in music education. Esme's community engagement has taken her into a wide range of settings, from serving as a summer field crew member with the Conservation Corps of Minnesota and Iowa, to supporting families at the Ronald McDonald House, to contributing to community-based food and sustainability work in the Rondo neighborhood through the Renewing the Countryside. Across these experiences, she has explored what it means to show up with care and commitment to learning alongside others. In their story, Esme reflects on the threads that connect their work in the arts, education, and community, and how these experiences have shaped their understanding of the kind of educator and partner they hope to be.
I started college as a music education and clarinet performance double major. I knew I wanted to study music, and I didn't know much else about what I was interested in. I had loved playing clarinet in high school and thought I might like teaching, but mostly just wanted to be involved in music in some way. I first became interested in community work my first year of college when I took the class Community Organizing for the Public Good. This class had a big impact on me, both with how I viewed the world as well as the kind of work I saw as possible. During this class, I worked on a project with local 5th grade students to write a song that talked about an issue that they chose as important to their community. The students chose to write their song about suicide, and worked together as a class to write a main hook or chorus for the song. They then worked in groups to each write a verse for the song. 1 or 2 students from each group then recorded their verse while the rest of the class created album art. This whole process took about an hour and a half, and was such a striking example for me of what music ed is capable of being.
Hey, you know life important, you don't wanna end it, you know hard times. Hey, but there's gonna be a time when peace collide, so enjoy your life, cause you only have one life.
Before you do, it's not worth it. Emotional people are killing over violence. Before you do, it's not worth it.
After finishing that class, I wanted to continue to do community work and also needed a summer job, so I got a job through AmeriCorps working with the nonprofit organization Urban Strategies in a neighborhood in North Minneapolis. While I don't think this specific job was for me, I learned a lot about nonprofits and working in a specific neighborhood through this experience, and was glad to get to know that particular community for the summer. The following summer, I really wanted to work outside, and I thought AmeriCorps would be a good option for another summer full-time job. So I found myself working with the Conservation Corps of Minnesota and Iowa. I absolutely loved this job. I loved being outside and working on a crew. We were also working in the cities and suburbs in partnership with a nonprofit to build rain gardens. Rain gardens are bowl-shaped gardens filled with native plants that have some sort of input of water. The long roots of native plants help to filter rainwater into the groundwater rather than collecting pollutants and going into storm drains and then directly into local rivers and lakes. Not only did I learn more about native plants and ecosystems, it was interesting to also learn a little bit about how federally funded programs like AmeriCorps work with smaller organizations like the Conservation Corps, who then partner with other local nonprofits, as well as local municipalities and governments. That same summer, before my junior year, I also started working at the Ronald McDonald House as a weekend staff member. I was becoming more interested in teaching at this time, in addition to environmental work, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to not only work at a nonprofit, but to work with youth. Because of my love for the Conservation Corps experience, during the school year of my junior year, I wanted to get more involved with environmental work, and ended up finding the Institute on Environment Undergraduate Leaders Program, and through this worked with the organization Renewing the Countryside. We worked on a mini forest project in St. Paul and helped with education and community involvement. This was such a fun and rewarding experience, a mix of my interest in teaching and my interest in environmental work. Later during the same year, my friend recommended the Community Engaged Scholars Program to me, because she said that it fit with a lot of things that I had already done or was interested in. Because I had already completed the vast majority of requirements when I joined this program, it has been mostly a prompt for reflection of the work I have done so far. It has made me consider what community work is and how it intersects with volunteering and paid work. I had never considered any of this work to be volunteering. It has all either been standard paid employment, paid through a stipend, or through a class. I think volunteering can be valuable, but it's not always feasible, and incorporating community work into your paid employment is equally as important and has been the route that I have taken. Throughout these experiences and while taking my music classes, I ended up dropping my clarinet performance major and focusing on music education. As I continue to have these community and teaching experiences, my interest in college has shifted significantly from a narrow music focus to a broad teaching and community focus. Going forward, I want to continue to see how I can meld what I've learned about teaching, music, environmental, and community work into a job that feels meaningful in some way. I do not know where that will lead me once I graduate next year, and I'm okay with that.
Thank you so much for letting us play your digital story. Every time I watch any of the scholars' digital stories, it just fills me with so much joy. And that one in particular, the music, I know we talked about that in the class, but it just makes you feel happy. So thank you again for letting us show that. Before we hear from our other keynote speakers, we're going to begin recognizing our graduating scholars. All of the students who complete the Scholars Program take CESP 3901, which is the capstone course for the program. In CESP 3901, we spend a lot of time discussing the people, experiences, opportunities, and events in our lives that have shaped who we are today. We also spend a lot of time reflecting on our past and current community engagement experiences. I learned so much from these groups of students during our time together. What stood out to me about our fall sections was the incredible range of passions you brought into the room, including environmental justice, healthcare, education, youth development, and so many others. You helped each other see how broad and interconnected community engagement can be, and you approached those conversations with a level of openness and curiosity that made the classroom feel alive. Your facilitation for change presentations were also a highlight. You spoke with such conviction about the issues you care about, and you listened to one another with a genuine interest and respect. You created a space where people felt comfortable sharing personal stories, asking hard questions, and reflecting honestly on your journey. Your ISEP projects and digital stories showed not only your creativity and purpose, but also the depth of your commitment to the communities you've partnered with. Watching you grow in confidence and clarity and voice throughout the semester was truly inspiring, and it was really a joy to learn alongside each of you. So to all of the students who took CESP 3901 in the fall, I appreciate the dedication you all had to showing up each week with a positive attitude and ready to engage in the activities that we had planned. You always brought a level of enthusiasm and excitement for class. I also always appreciated your commitment to social justice and creating a space where we could question the systems and structures in a society that lead to injustices in an effort to work alongside each other in finding solutions to these complex problems. And on a lighter note, I also want to mention that if there was an award for a section that consumed the most snacks and ice cream bars this year, I think it would be safe to say that the Fall Tuesday group would take home that trophy. There were a lot of snacks consumed. I now welcome Laurel back to the podium, and we're also going to invite Lori to come up as well.
Okay, so fall groups. We are going to have you come up to the right of the stage over here. Actually, Susie, can we have you go over there? Or is this right?
We're going to have them come over here, yep, and then they'll go there after.
Okay, the right of the stage, sorry. So after, we're going to have you line up over here. And by section, so
Okay, so we'll have the Monday and Tuesday section. Yep. Come on up here.
Yep.
And you can come up now.
Come on up now. And then after you receive your medal, we will have you wait with Susie to do for a group photo. So please don't go back and sit down. So students will come up here. I will read names off, and they will get their certificate and medal from Jess and Lori, and then wait for a group photo. Okay, so we're starting with Monday's course participants. So Shriti Chakraborty. Okay, Esme Mergendal. Monty Natrakal. And I believe our last two students are not with us today, but we do want to say their names, Samsam Ali and Carly Burt. And you can have a seat now. So next we're going to recognize the students from the fall who completed that Tuesday class with lots of treats. Hannah Hebert. I think we're missing Amanda Nelson today, but she was part of that group as well. Caleb Van Watermeulen. And over there, Ariana Hawkins. And last but not least, Haley Pavelka. first, let's take a moment to congratulate all of the students who and then, do you want to do the intro? Okay.
All right. Hannah, I hope you left your medal on. Next, we are going to hear from Hannah Hebert, a CESP scholar majoring in sociology with a leadership minor. Hannah's community engagement has taken many forms, from supporting Girls on the Run as a spring program intern, to serving in multiple leadership roles with Rotaract, including fundraising chair, vice president, and then president. She also brings experience from her work with the Minnesota Department of Human Services, where she has seen firsthand how systems shape people's lives and opportunities. Her speech, The Power to Act, Agency in Community Work, invites us into the moments that have strengthened her belief that individuals and communities can create meaningful change when they choose to act with intention. Hannah.
Yes, I'm back. Thank you all for being here today and supporting all of your scholars. First off, this is a big accomplishment for everyone in the room, so thank you all. Just wanted to say that. But when I first started my community engagement work, I thought I had to do a million little things to make an impact across sectors, from food insecurity to animal welfare to education, environmental conservation, and more. But over time, I've learned that real impact often starts with agency and projects I'm very passionate about. My understanding of agency really took shape through my work with Rotaract, a global community service organization fostering community engagement initiatives with adults 18 and older. When I first joined the organization, I attended meetings regularly and then took on leadership roles. First, serving as fundraising chair, then vice president, and now president. In that time, I saw how small, consistent actions create real change when there's intention behind each action of service. We hosted fundraisers that supported suicide prevention, made tie blankets for children in hospitals, wrote Valentine's Day cards to senior citizens experiencing loneliness, and more. While none of these projects alone changed an entire system, they built something powerful: connection, consistency, and community. At the same time, I started to notice limitations. Our funding was small, our projects were short-term, and as a college-based organization, leadership constantly turns over. That made me question, how can I move from small acts of service to more sustainable, long-term acts of service? To create the types of long-term changes I wanted to see in my community, I started working at the Minnesota Department of Human Services. At DHS, I had the opportunity to lead different projects focused on serving the community and improving the organization's outreach. To do this, I took the initiative to create the first ever annual report for the Diversity Recruitment and Retention Team. This report recorded key demographic data on hiring practices, retention programs to build employee well-being, and more. It wasn't just data. It became a tool for accountability and change, where it was used to influence our future recruitment strategies and ensure we were a more equal opportunity employer, recruiting new, underrepresented communities. In this role, I also took agency to lead a social media initiative to reach younger and more diverse applicants. I used socially responsible marketing strategies on LinkedIn and Facebook to highlight real employees, share our interns' experiences, and our unique career pathways. Due to these efforts, we saw an increase in applicants who better reflected the communities the state serves. These experiences at my job show me that agency doesn't always look like leading a big movement. Sometimes it looks like improving a system from within. Sometimes it looks like telling stories that weren't being told. Sometimes it looks like asking what's missing here and deciding to build it. I know many of the individuals in the room tonight decided to take the agency, one sec, I gotta turn the page, to lead these initiatives, start projects leading to long-term impact, and serve the communities that matter most to them. Through CESP, I've learned that community engagement is not passive. It requires intention, it requires questioning systems, and most importantly, it requires believing that your actions, no matter how small, can contribute to something larger. As I move forward, I want to continue building that sense of agency, not just in myself, but in others. Because when people believe they can act, they can start to create the change communities around them. And that's where the real impact begins. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. We appreciate you speaking tonight. Next, we're going to hear from Ethan Lee, who has generously agreed to share his digital story with us. Through the Community Engagement Scholars Program, Ethan has explored what it means to engage with the community in ways that are relational, responsible, and grounded in care. As he prepares to enter the field of veterinary medicine, his digital story reflects on the experiences that have guided him towards this work and the commitments he hopes to carry into his future practice as a veterinarian. His story traces the moments, mentors, and communities that helped him understand not only why he serves, but how he wants to show up in the world.
Both my parents were born and raised in Indonesia. After graduating from high school, they moved to the United States for college and work, and so I was born in Texas. But around the time I turned 5, we all moved back to Indonesia to help my grandparents with their business, and I ended up spending the rest of my childhood there. I didn't come back to the States until the day before my orientation at the University of Minnesota. Because of these unique circumstances, I always felt like I was living with a foot in two worlds. It was as if I could never truly fit in, no matter where I was. Fast forward to one of my first community engagement experiences in college. I started volunteering at CESP, the Student Initiative for Reservation Veterinary Services. They're a U of M vet student group that provides no-cost pet healthcare to Indigenous communities in Minnesota.
You know, we heard that there's some challenges in our Native American communities with access to veterinary care.
At the time, I was only looking for volunteer opportunities to gain experience and build my resume. I had helped occasionally with charity and donation events back home in Indonesia, but I'd never really cared for them much before. However, during my first day at CESP, I was checking in a pet owner at the intake desk when she started to voice some concerns. It was the first time she had taken her cat to get spayed. Not only was she worried for her pet's safety, but she was also afraid that she wouldn't be able to pay for the surgery. At that moment, it struck me. This was something I had seen countless times in Indonesia. With a median household income nearly 20 times less than that of Americans, Indonesians have far less money to spare for their pets. Having grown up with friends and family who could barely afford to care for their pets, I was able to empathize much more with this pet owner at CESP. Combining my Indonesian background with my knowledge of Minnesota pet care services, I reassured her that her CESP appointment was completely free, and I recommended some other cost-friendly options. When I first started college at the U of M, I was a pre-med majoring in human physiology, so I was already passionate about helping people through healthcare. This experience, however, was a turning point that made me realize how fulfilling it was to help people through animal healthcare. Suddenly more interested in volunteering opportunities like this, I joined the Community Engagement Scholars Program. It taught me another reason why I enjoy these community-based clinics more than the volunteering experience I had in Indonesia. CESP focused on working with their communities and not just for them. They maintained long-term relationships with the indigenous tribal reservations, and they sought wisdom from the locals about their culture regarding companion animals. From there, I pursued other animal-related experiences. In doing so, I discovered the importance of environmental sustainability through wildlife rehabilitation and conservation. I volunteered at the Songbird Nursery at the Minnesota Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, where I helped hand-feed orphaned baby songbirds until they were well enough to return to the wild. It was interesting to see this different setting of animal care. People would still go to such lengths for the well-being of these animals, even if they weren't their pets. Currently, I am an education volunteer at the U of M Raptor Center, where I lead tours around the facility to teach people about raptors and their biology, behavior, and conservation. In doing so, we try to foster passion and respect for wildlife, especially in the youth, so that people are more likely to participate in conservation efforts and live more sustainably. These organizations introduced to me a new kind of community engagement. I benefited people not just by helping animals, but by educating them about wildlife and ecosystem wellness. Around the same time, I learned about the concept of One Health in one of my classes. One Health emphasizes the intersection between human, animal, and environmental health. Each of these components closely affects the others, so we must address them using more integrative approaches. This reminded me of my own intersecting identities and how I sometimes struggle to feel truly Indonesian or Minnesotan. Do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes. This is a famous line by Walt Whitman in his poem, Song of Myself. The poem celebrates the self in unity with all people and the universe, and this particular quote emphasizes the complexity of being human. It's natural to hold opposing identities, and instead of confining myself to just my Indonesian or American backgrounds, I should embrace both as inextricable parts of who I am. This upcoming fall, I will be starting vet school at the University of Minnesota. I will spend many years learning about all kinds of animal care. And so, I plan to continue community engagement through this newfound expertise in the lens of One Health. I might specialize in public health and start zoonotic disease awareness programs for underserved communities. Or I could research medical treatments in animals to help advance human healthcare. Just as I am the bridge between my Indonesian and American identities, I hope to bridge the gap between humans, animals, and the environment for the sake of all.
Thank you again, Ethan, for letting us show your video tonight. Before we begin recognizing the Spring 3901 courses, there are a few words I want to share. The first few weeks of CESP 3901 are about getting to know each other and building a community. It was clear to me from the first few weeks of class that all three of the Spring 2026 sections of CESP 3901 were going to be filled with great conversations, deepening our understanding of the themes of CESP and building genuine relationships and connections with one another. What I love the most about the Monday section was the way you embraced each other's passions and projects. Whether you were creating your own ISEP from the ground up, stepping into mutual aid work for the first time, or sharing the stories behind your 400 hours. You showed up with such intention and curiosity. You were genuinely excited to learn about a wide range of community work happening in the room, from, as we just saw, wildlife conservation, immigrant rights, healthcare, art education, and so much more. Your instructor for a day's sessions and digital stories were especially powerful. They revealed not just what you do, but who you are becoming. Watching you move from participating in community work to initiating it is one of the most inspiring parts of the semester, and it showed how ready you are to lead in your next chapters. What I appreciated the most about our Wednesday section was how much you learned from one another. We were a very small group, which meant every voice really mattered. And you created a space where people could share openly about their community work, their interests, and the issues that shaped their ISEP projects. You brought so much depth and passion into the room. You introduced each other to new topics, you challenged assumptions, and you made connections across majors and disciplines. You really built a classroom environment where curiosity, vulnerability, and genuine care could coexist, and that made our time together feel especially meaningful. I now invite Laurel back to the stage, and we'll have the Monday and Wednesday graduates come over to the side.
Monday section in front, Wednesday section towards the other half. Okay, so once again, after your name is called and you come forward, receive your medal and certificate. You'll have your photo taken with Jess and Lori, and then you will move over here and wait for the rest of your group to join you. So, beginning with the Monday section, Ethan Lee. Varsha Venkutesh. Sophie Mack. Grace Knapp. Galili. And just to also include the other 4 who were in this section, Arun Anastasia, Emma Helgerson, Faria Khalif, and William Wallstrom. Let's give them a round. Okay, now we have our Wednesday section, William Farley. Mia Tranowski. Eleni Araya. Abigail Kwame. Suweda Warsami. And unable to join us tonight was Razi Lawabni. And I welcome Jess back to the stage to introduce the next speaker.
Our next speaker is Ian Fairchild, a CESP scholar majoring in neuroscience, whose community work has been deeply shaped by her experiences in the healthcare setting. Ian has spent her time in the program supporting patients and families as a playroom volunteer at Masonic Children's Hospital, serving as a blood donor ambassador with the Red Cross, and providing direct care as a certified nursing assistant in long-term care environments. These roles have given her a close view of both vulnerability and resilience, and of the quiet, everyday ways people show up for one another. Her speech, Compassion, the bridge between self and community reflects on how those moments have shaped her understanding of care, not just as a task, but as a way of being in relationship with others.
Hi everyone, thank you for being here today, and thank you to Jess. My name is Ayn Fairchild, and I will be talking about compassion, or what I would consider as the bridge between self and community. In 2018, I traveled to Ethiopia, my home country, with a nonprofit called Adams Thermal Foundation. This nonprofit established two grade schools, for which I fundraise books and other school supplies. In this country, public school costs money, and therefore exists a significant disparity in the access to education across socioeconomic classes. This trip marks my very first encounter with community engagement work. I say encounter rather than participation because my effort was one of reciprocity within a community that first served me. This encounter laid the foundation for my sense of self and my sense of community, two livelihoods that exist in congruence. The Community Engagement Scholars Program has granted me an abundance of opportunities to interact with this encounter years later through a process of reflection. Like a mother's lineage remains in her children and her children's children, this motherland has remained in me far beyond my place within it. The countryside of Oromia was filled with the sound of my voice at idle lips. My internal monologue, capable only of past and supposition, as I neared the boundary of consciousness. At this impasse overlooking the present, I remember little of my experience, but its significance finds residence in the architecture of my mind. These memories created structures with angles harsh and mild for my personal scholarship at a later time. Only now can I examine the events which had occurred in my liminal state. The earth's texture, apparent in the passing tread of the car's tires, the gentle ridges of my grandmother's Nutella against my face, the pervasive scent of myrrh and eucalyptus, blessings bestowed in a handshake or kiss. These little instances occupy vast space in my mind, even the conversations with few to no words of understanding. The incompatibility of tongue between myself and the students of Adams Thermal Academy had no faculty over shared compassion, an expression of love which needed translation. This motherland is so articulate. It is more than a destination. It is the unity of people. It is because of us. I observed how I was a part of this community through a means of culture and how I was separate from it due to circumstance. In community engagement, you must recognize your privilege whilst also recognizing your equivalence. This means understanding that the disproportionate impact of adversity, systemic adversity, exists, but it does not warrant superiority. Upholding that honest dynamic of service requires compassion first and foremost. The past is not immutable, rather your understanding of it shifts in the accumulation of more experiences. Therefore, it also maintains its capacity to teach and to inform. So in my journey through CESP, I have come to conceptualize community engagement work as a relationship, a symbiotic relationship between past and present. I joined this program my senior year, but it was during my sophomore year that I was able to begin the volunteership at Masonic Children's Hospital. These 2 years as a playroom and unit volunteer enriched my perspective of pediatrics, particularly the pediatric cancer community. Here, I learned the importance of support services for those under long-term institutional care. Even in the case of palliative care, where the boundary to the quality of life that one can achieve is harsh, it is still also necessary to facilitate meaningful occupation. Humans exist beyond happenstance. This I was taught not only by professor and mentor, but mostly by patient, client, resident, family, friend, and stranger. Who is a recipient of care? It is one who has granted another great utility over their condition, over their happenstance. who is a recipient of care. It is the one who is granted, who is a recipient of care, or who is a caregiver. It is the one who honors that gift of life with holistic servitude. Compassion does not constrain such efforts, but instead offers myself and others liberation from the uncertainty of time. Compassion is experienced presently, which is most valuable to those whose promise of tomorrow is far more semblant. So in the midst of an unabating life where sickness does not wait and tribulation is pertinent, may compassion prevail. The meticulous work of each scholar here today will enrich their perspectives as future professionals. I know this because community engagement resolves a difficult and harsh matter of isolation, a silent affliction of many communities and many members of communities, individuals. Shared responsibility expands the capacity for change to which our world is constantly subjected. So may we continue to equip ourselves with community, and may that armor be forged from compassion. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. When I had the opportunity to see your speech before you did it, I said, you are an amazing storyteller. Thank you for sharing that. Our final student speaker this evening is J.V. Sajovia, a CESP scholar majoring in human physiology with a minor in anthropology. Her commitment to community engagement has been shaped by roles across healthcare and advocacy, from supporting patients and families through StepForce and IDS at M Health Fairview, to contributing to pharmacy operations at Mayo, to serving on the youth committee at Copal. These experiences have given her a close view of how systems, identities, and access intersect in people's lives. Her speech, Identities, Power, and Privilege, and the Intersectionalities of Homelessness, invites us to consider how structural forces shape who is impacted most by housing instability, and what it means to approach this work with humility, awareness, and responsibility.
Yes, I do have it. Okay. Sorry, let me just pull up my speech. I don't have it on paper. How's everyone doing? Yes. Sorry, I'm kind of awkward and really tired. Guys, it's been a long week, but it's almost over. It's almost over. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Serious now. All right. So. When I first joined the CESP program in the beginning of my senior year, the first assignment that I had to complete was about our intersectionality. I needed to fill out this diagram that looked like a flower about different parts of my identity. In this diagram, I filled out that I am a woman, I am 21, I am a college student, and I am Latina. All of these identities make up a larger part. They make up who I am. My personal identities determine my access to systemic power and advantages, something that we call privilege. While I worked with the Homelessness Outreach Prevention and Education Group on campus, I partnered with many organizations such as McBee, Bridging, and Hennepin County's homelessness and housing sector. My mind kept returning back to this diagram. There was another identity that I had completely overlooked. I revised this diagram. Instead, it is now, I am a woman, I am 21, I am a college student, and I am Latina, and I am housed. I realized that housing impacts our sense of self and identity, and what a privilege it is that I took it for granted. Not only does housing determine how you may perceive yourself, but it also can affect how others may perceive your identity. Through my work in homelessness prevention, I learned that often we impose prejudiced views and unfair stereotypes for those who are unhoused. identity, power, and privilege does not end with where we fit into society, but instead who can impose those identities onto others. Through CESP, I decided I had the privilege to be invited to certain spaces. For example, I had the privilege to be a college student, something that many people do not have access to. I decided I would hold a rap session about homelessness in the Twin Cities and use my power to destigmatize and remove unwanted stereotypes and identities that were imposed onto others who are unhoused. I have the power to create spaces that address issues about homelessness. CESP gave me the courage and opportunity to use my privilege to advocate for those who are marginalized and unable to. By entering those spaces, I am able to reach a broader audience and hopefully have others access spaces that even I cannot. It is crucial for me to understand my identities, power, and privilege about homelessness and how I could navigate, resist, and advocate for those who are unhoused. As I continue to volunteer in the community, I will remember what CESP has taught me about my identity. That is that identity is ever-changing. My identity will continue to evolve. In fact, our identities give us so much power and privilege that we need to use to continue to help others. Thank you.
Sorry, I lost a sheet of paper. It's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and the impact that engagement has had for you. We will now recognize our scholars who are enrolled in the Friday section of our capstone seminar. Both of the students who just spoke are in the Friday section, and I can't say too much more than you all said, but I'm gonna say just a couple things. One thing that I wanted to share is just how appreciative I am of the wide range of community experiences you all brought into the room. You were so eager to learn from one another's perspectives, especially during your Instructor for a Day presentations. We talked about immigrant rights, we talked about the social determinants of health with a focus on Harith's work with autism research. That was a very interesting week. And so many other things during our course. You really built a classroom community that was both supportive and intellectually engaging, and you showed how powerful it can be when people are able to bring their full selves to the room. I now welcome the Friday students to come over to the side.
All right. So, our last group tonight. I think you know the program now, right? Walk forward, come over here, photos, all those things. So, starting out, we have Harith Daman. Annie Davis. Sarai Montano. I believe it's not with us today. JD Santos Segovia. Emily Schultz. Arushi Singh. Anne Fairchild. And Liv Feist. Also in this section, we had Aubrey Bolton, Anna Sophia DeMar, Anna Francesca Maristella, Tofumni Hastrop, and Thomas Hoffman, who are unable to be with us today. Thank you again. Okay, so I am adding a little bit of closing remarks before I invite Dr. Lori Van Egren up. But tonight, as you graduate, let me remind you that being here today means you have persevered through a lot. Yet you have still figured out how to contribute in meaningful ways to our communities. As Clarissa Pinclaus Estes states, ours is not the task of fixing the entire world all at once, but of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. Any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul, to assist some portion of this suffering world, will help immensely. Margaret Wheatley, author of many books I love, including Perseverance, states, throughout human existence, there have been people willing to step forward to struggle valiantly in the hope that they might reverse the downward course of events. Getting engaged in changing things is quite straightforward. If we have an idea or want to resolve an injustice or stop a tragedy, we step forward to serve. Instead of being overwhelmed and withdrawing, we act. No grand actions are required. We just need to begin speaking up about what we care about. This is how the world always changes. Everyday people not waiting for someone else to fix things, but simply stepping forward, figuring out how to make things better. As you graduate and you move on with your lives, I hope you will take the lessons of success and failures you've had as valuable learning experiences to continue to make your communities a better place for other human beings and the plants and animals that make up our environmental ecosystem. Lori Van Egren, please join us.
Am I winding us up? Or is Jess
Jess
coming back
coming
after?
back. Yep, Jess is
Good,
coming.
because I think that somebody from CCL should be. Hey, I've been jotting down random notes all the way along. And if you're looking at the program, I am not David Weirtz. Actually, David is the Associate Vice Provost, and I was supposed to be away tonight, and so he was coming to get to attend this, and when I realized I'm not going away, and this event is tonight, I booted David and said, I'm going. And I'm so glad that I did, because this is the time of year when I cry a lot, getting to see these digital stories, getting to hear these stories of students. It's award season here on campus. I think this is one of the most meaningful. I went to the Board of Regents yesterday. They were awarding different kinds of awards to professors who were newly tenured, and to a whole variety of awards. But basically, I mean, it was meaningful and nice, and it was the Board of Regents and the president, the provost, all the top leaders, but basically they just sort of wandered around the room, shook hands. And so this is much more entertaining than that was. So I just want to say, you're at the really good ceremony. You know, do we have family and friends here? So, the staff have heard this before, but I did no engagement until I was 35 years old. And many of you, scholars, come from families where giving and service was a part of your upbringing. Many of you didn't, probably, as well, and you've made your own way and your own realizations about this, and I'm with you, but you're doing it much earlier than I ever did. I got forced into it by a boss. When I did not want to do it, I wanted to sit and do statistics at a computer. But once you do it, it's life-changing, and you cannot go back. And I think we're hearing stories about this. And just on a little boring note, the university has been going through a strategic planning process for the last couple of years, and strategic planning means that's the direction the university is going to be going forward in for the next 5 years, till 2030. The very first thing, the very first items on that strategic plan that the university needs to gather around and support and commit to is, there's two. One is students, we want our students to understand their place in a democracy and as citizens. And we want them to experience community and experiential learning so that they will be both career ready, but also understand themselves as people in the world. And so when we saw that, we were so thrilled because that is the mission of the center. And that is the mission that you all have been fulfilling and identifying for yourselves going forward. So I'm so pleased that you were able to have this kind of experience that was facilitated by Jess and the staff at CCEL. I think another part of it is that when you see that you've got, out of just this group, 45,000 hours given to the community. So Susie here, who was standing right there, just did a report. We've been gathering data. I'm a data wonk. You're going to have to hear about this. Gathered data, and we were trying to find out how much are students doing across the university. And with half the data in, right, we were at, in a year, almost 1 million hours that our students were giving to the community. So when you see here, 37 graduates doing 45,000 hours, and then you expand that to the, 40,000 students we have, it's just an incredible impact that you have on the world, on the community, and the world beyond. So you should really, understand that this is not, I think you do, but this is really a huge contribution that our students make to the world. So I know this has been a hard year. This has been really stressful for our communities, and it's been really stressful for everybody within the university. And maybe it was a really important time for you to be doing the kind of work that you were doing as well. So I want to thank you for that. And I'll just leave you with, do you all know the word boundaries, or the term boundary spanners? Boundary spanners are the people who are the connectors between two groups or communities. And during your stint in CESP, you have been boundary spanners, between the university and your community partners. And I want to encourage you to continue to be those boundary spanners, the people who have feet in multiple worlds and are able to translate and facilitate those relationships and those connections, because it all comes down to those relationships. And now, having done CESP, graduated from CESP, you are the bearers of those boundaries. You are people who can go out in the world and make those connections that are the things that will get us through all of this, right? So thank you again. Thank you to your families and friends and teachers and instructors, and who am I forgetting? The CCL staff and Jess, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Lori. This concludes today's program, and I want to thank each of you for being here. Family, friends, community partners, colleagues, and of course, our scholars. Your presence is part of what makes this celebration meaningful. All of you, your presence. As we close, I reflect on what I've learned from each student in this room. What I've heard from so many of you this year is that CESP became more than just a checklist of hours or assignments to complete. It became a place where your community work started to make deeper sense. You discovered how your experiences in the world connect to your academic paths, your values, and the kind of impact you hope to have. Some of you found language for passions that you've been carrying quietly for years. Others realized that your engagement could be a bridge between what you study and what you care about. Many of you talked about finding a community of peers who share your commitment to justice, who challenge you, and who remind you that change is something we build together. And across your reflections, there was a common thread, that doing this work has shaped not only how you see the world, but how you see yourselves within it. I hope what we carry forward today has reminded us that community work is built through relationships, through showing up, and through the quiet, consistent commitments that often go unseen. Our scholars have spent years practicing this, listening deeply, reflecting honestly, and acting with intention. They leave this program not just with hours completed, but with a way of moving through the world that centers care, responsibility, and possibility. Please join me in celebrating these remarkable graduates one more time. Your work does not end tonight. It simply continues in new places, with new people, and in new forms. As the last word, please continue to help yourself to food and beverages that we have left. And I would also like to invite the speakers and those who presented the digital stories, if you'd like to take a flower from the table, you can. And then the flowers that are left, others, you are welcome to take those home. Thank you so much for being here tonight.